It is hour number 2 of Budweiser's weekday sports beat with IrishBreakdown.com. I'm Sean Stiers. He is Vince D'Addario. And Vince, I was listening to the last half of that Hannah Hidalgo.
Oh, you went back already.
During the break, and I can see what people were saying. You know, she was talking about people who want to play defense first and how well they get along on and off the court and all that kind of stuff. So maybe, I don't know. If you missed it, go back and listen to it and you be the judge yourself. I can see that. I
could also see why she might not be super happy, like with some of the people. I could see that. And you know what? I'm okay with a little bit of shade too, to be honest with you.
DJ said he listened again and maybe it's not shade. I can see it either way.
Yeah.
I can see it either way. Like if you can read into it, I think what you want to read into it. But yeah, like as DJ said, it was in either case, it was painting as a positive for this team. I think that was maybe why I didn't hear the shade the first time. But all right, it is rapid fire time. Vince, fill in the blank. College game day at Notre Dame's game at Pittsburgh this week is blank.
An interesting choice, I'll say. That's my fill in the blank. I mean, there's some big games going on now. They're games that are in places that they've gone before, and things like that. So they're obviously trying to mix it up a little bit, and I can respect that. This is still a ranked opponent. There's CFP implications, all of those things, and the cherry on top is that's where Pat McAfee's from. So,
true. I didn't even think about that.
I'm sure that's part of it.
Good call. Good call.
So I was not expecting it. I'll just say that I was not expecting that to be the choice.
I wasn't expecting it either. I was very shocked, and then I guess my answer is shocking. I'm shocked by the fact that game day is going to be there. But hey, I mean, people want to be part of the Notre Dame business. It's really the last chance for them to get it. I was a little bit surprised that they didn't come to Notre Dame USC, considering the fact that could be, like, as of right now, we still don't know. There's no certain future on what's going to happen with that rivalry. And I thought maybe they would show up since it could be the last time those two teams play, at least for a while anyway, but they didn't. And now you've got a team in Pittsburgh that is in the thick of the ACC race, and you've got Notre Dame, who obviously, I mean, both teams have college football playoff aspirations at this point.
Yeah.
So from that aspect, it makes sense. Good point about the cherry on the top, though, with McAfee. Forgot about that. He's a Yinzer. So
he is. And they even put that in their announcement. They're like, Pat's coming home.
There you go.
So I think that had a decent amount to do with it as well.
Yep. PJAF says the noon start times are tough, but at least we don't have to wait all day. I'm in on that. Like, I think we all like the fact that you don't have to wait all day. And again, like, I'll be doing some basketball anyway, but I'm never opposed, especially when they're road games. And, most of the time I've just got to flip on the TV. I'm never opposed to that.
Yeah, I am all for noon games normally because then we do the post-game show and we're done by the time the night games start. So, like, the noon slot is by far my favorite slot. No questions asked, but they don't ask me. And this particular time, I was hoping for any other time besides noon so that I could watch the game and do the post-game show and all of those things. And now I can't because it's at noon. But the one time I didn't want it at noon, they put it at noon. It's like, okay, thanks, guys.
Michael said, if I was the Notre Dame AD, I would schedule as many noon games as possible. Love these early starts. You want any noon home games? Notre Dame has obviously avoided ever doing that. The earliest home game I remember, at least in the last 25 years since I've been here, is when they used to have some of those 1:30 start times.
Oh, that's right.
Before daylight, like early in the season, they would be at 1:30 because, and then we used to not move our clocks back and forth. And so it'd be 1:30 games at the start of the season. Then you'd get into November after everybody else changed their clocks. And like here in South Bend, it would be 2:30 that they would kick off. That's the earliest that they would ever do it. Now it's mostly 3:30 and night games. I wouldn't mind a noon game every now and then. It is interesting since like Fox has kind of gone Moneyball with their start times.
Yeah.
They have discovered that if you put big games on at noon, you can get some eyeballs there. And I wonder if NBC/Peacock would ever want to do that, or if Notre Dame just wants to stay out of the noontime slot.
I would love if Notre Dame would do a noontime slot for a home game. I think that would be fantastic. And I do think the Fox noon game situation is legitimate. I think they're bringing, because remember 10 years ago, for example, games that were on at noon were awful.
Yeah.
Like they were awful games at noon. I mean, it's just terrible. And that's not the case anymore. There's some really good games at noon, and it's not just the Big Ten either. And so I think people are starting to warm up to the whole noon thing. I could see Notre Dame doing a noon game at some point.
I would rather the Navy game over the weekend have been a noon game as opposed to a primetime game. I think a lot of people were scratching their heads like, why is Navy primetime? But they obviously wanted another primetime game. But again, like it just feels like with what you have with Notre Dame's schedule that, that's like another TV window that NBC could potentially be capitalizing on because they have some flexibility there since, they obviously have, Big Ten games and stuff like that as well. But I've always traditionally like in terms of going, never been a fan, but when I'm watching, on TV, it's pretty cool. But at the same time, I think most people like wouldn't mind being, having the game done by 3:30 or 4 o'clock.
Well, and it allows you to watch a lot of other football too.
Exactly.
And not that you can't watch other football when Notre Dame is slotted at a different time, but I just like getting the anticipation over with, a little earlier, and then you can just sit back and relax and watch games. I don't know.
You know what game was at noon this past Saturday? Texas Tech BYU.
Yeah. Yep.
We got to watch some of that game. I don't know how much of that game you watched. I watched a good deal of it. Little Big 12 matchup,
Yeah.
Two top 10 teams in the Big 12 going head to head. And Texas Tech head coach Joey McGuire, after Tech beat BYU, he started talking a little bit about BYU in his post-game press conference, and it turned into something else. So here's what Texas Tech head coach Joey McGuire had to say.
I was really excited whenever they joined the Big 12 because I think that they carry a lot of weight and a lot of respect. I think that I have a lot of respect for them entering a conference and not playing an independent schedule like other people. Y'all already know who that is. And so I have a lot of respect for that. I mean, they're earning their right just like everybody but a couple of people in the nation are earning their right through conference play, and playing in some really tough places.
Okay, Vince, some other people. Joey McGuire throwing shade at Notre Dame there is blank.
Is enjoying his 15 minutes of fame. How about that? No, I can guarantee you the vast majority of people, and it includes sports fans, had no idea who the head coach of Texas Tech was. They would have had to Google Joey McGuire's name to figure out who the heck he was. If they didn't see the video and him with the big TT on his shirt, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, nobody cares about your opinion. Number one, nobody. And your team wouldn't be winning if they didn't spend $28 million on NIL. So I don't care what he has to say, because you know what? If Texas Tech and Joey McGuire could go independent and be successful, they would do it. And they can't.
Any team. And you know why BYU is not independent? It's not because they wanted to go join a conference so they could compete.
They tried it.
They wanted to be independent. The reason they are not independent is because it's hard to be independent. And that's why other teams aren't independent. Right. Anyone, Texas Tech, name your team. They would be independent if they could, but it takes a lot to be independent. And in today's world, it takes the TV contract. And like TV networks are not going to be handing out TV contracts to Texas A&Ms and BYU. That's ultimately why nobody outside of Utah cares about BYU football. That's just what it is.
They had trouble putting a schedule together. They couldn't do it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. They didn't give up independence to challenge themselves. They gave it up because it was too hard. Look, go back to 1990. Here are the teams that were independent. Some of the teams. There were a lot of independent teams back in 1990, but some prominent teams: Florida State, Miami, Penn State, Pittsburgh, Virginia Tech, Louisville, South Carolina, Rutgers, Syracuse, and obviously Notre Dame. All those teams, all those football teams were independents 35 years ago. None of them are independent now because they can't cut it on their own. It is much easier and much more secure and safe to be in a conference, and especially in today's world, because of the fact that, all the TV revenue and everything else that comes with it. So spare me, Joey McGuire, but it's a great point. Like, you've been the head coach at Texas Tech for 4 years now, and the only reason anyone knows your name is, as you said, because they went out and bought a roster and are competitive now. And I don't begrudge them that, because
it's within the rules. They're doing what they're allowed to do, and they got oil money and everything else.
That's right.
Awesome. Good for you.
He talks, but he also talked about the fact that, you're in a conference now, so you go to some challenging places, unlike these, the independent that I don't even have the guts to say their name.
Seriously.
Like the toughest place that Texas Tech and Joey McGuire have played since he's been in the Big 12 is Utah. That is it. Utah. Have they played any SEC teams? No. Have they played any Big 10 teams? No. Notre Dame played 2 of each this year, as well as the best group of 5 team from a year ago in Boise State. Notre Dame, in the same time that Joey McGuire has been at Texas Tech, has played at places like Texas A&M, widely regarded as one of the toughest places to play in the nation. They have played at Ohio State. They have played at Miami. They have played at Arkansas. They have played at USC. They have played at Clemson in the same time period that McGuire has been at Texas Tech. And again, the toughest place he has played is Utah. I'm sorry. Kansas, West Virginia, Baylor don't stack up, in terms of tough places to play compared to the ones that I just rattled off there that Notre Dame has played in the same. So spare me because you're in a conference. Again, all these coaches, live under this little umbrella that we're in a conference, so it's tougher for us. Give me a break.
And they also have series coming up where they're going to go to Alabama. They're going to go to Auburn. And Texas
and Michigan.
And they got a 12-year contract with Clemson. Tell me, Texas Tech, if you go independent, you think those schools are going to be lining up to play home and homes with you? They will not be. And you'll be begging to go back inside your conference. So, and it's also be careful what you wish for. Let's say tomorrow Notre Dame decides, you know what, we want to join a conference. And you know what that conference is going to be? It's going to be the Big 12, because we know that we can win that conference every single year without trying very hard. You don't want that, Mr. McGuire. You don't want that at all. Yeah. So be careful what you wish for, my guy.
Robert in the YouTube chat says, Notre Dame with their independent schedules have to get ready to face a lot of different types of offenses. Yeah. And because when you're in a conference, teams tend to morph and be very similar to each other. And,
absolutely.
Look at the fact that Notre Dame plays Navy every year. Do you think that any other Power 4 school would sign up to play Navy year in and year out? No. Look at Kansas State. They decided, hey, we're going to play Army. We signed a contract to play Army. How'd that work out for Kansas State? Spoiler, in case you missed it, they lost to Army at home this year. It is not easy playing these option offenses. There's a reason no one wants to play them, but Notre Dame plays Navy year in and year out. Last year they played Army. They played Air Force off and on the schedule as well.
And the funny part is Texas Tech plays 9 Power 4 conference teams on their schedule this year. You know how many Notre Dame plays? 10. Right. And they play Navy and Boise State.
Right.
2 of the best group of 6 or group of 5, whatever you want to call them, teams in the country. So I don't even know who the 3 non-Power 4 teams that they played. They're probably awful, and they're probably 1AA teams. And, Coach McGuire, checks those off as W's.
Again, the schedules Texas Tech is playing, not like the only thing close to a Big 10 team. They played Oregon 2 or 3 years ago And, that was when Oregon was still in the Pac-12. They lost at Washington State. It was either last year or the year before. So, they've played Oregon State as well. They are not challenging themselves in their non-conference schedule at all.
Sean, give them respect for playing Arkansas Pine Bluff in the first game of the season. Come on, man.
Notre Dame plays Arkansas. Texas Tech plays Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Exactly. And they also played Kent State, which is the worst team in the MAC. Yeah. So, congratulations on your really tough schedule, Texas Tech.
ND Sailor says, assuming Notre Dame gets in the playoffs, would you rather play Texas Tech or Oregon? Well, now after this, I think everyone would rather play Tech, right?
Sign me up for Texas Tech. And honestly, sign me up for whoever the Big 12 puts out there, because BYU was talking all kinds of crap all last week, and now Texas Tech is talking the crap. So
it's funny how all these teams and all these fan bases who were talking about Notre Dame's ranking last week, most of them lost last week.
Correct.
The ACC has gone from the potential of getting 3 teams in the playoff to they might actually be lucky if they even get 1 in the playoff, depending on, because Duke has 4 losses right now, but Duke is still in the running to win the ACC. So if they end up winning the ACC, could they end up being like the 6th highest ranked conference champion? Because you still have to be one of the 5 highest ranked conference champions to get into the playoffs. So could a couple of these group of 5s actually pass them up? I don't know if it would come to that, because the committee can manipulate the rankings when in any way they want. It's like, I will say, I do think Texas Tech is like, if Texas Tech and Oregon played head to head, I would probably pick Texas Tech right now. So if you like to answer that question about Tech or Oregon, I would probably actually rather play Oregon, just from how good is the teams? They're both still good teams. I'm not saying Oregon isn't any good, but Oregon would probably be the team that I would pick between those two.
But I will say this. Let's say that Notre Dame has to travel to Texas Tech in the first round of the playoff. If that's the way everything shakes out, it's like an 8-9 matchup or something. I would have no problem going down there to play football. None whatsoever. They got a quote unquote small stadium for a Division I team. It's like 60,000. No problem. Notre Dame has been to worse.
To the noon kickoff stuff, Brian NY says, wasn't Marshall a noon game? It was not. Notre Dame has never, in the last 25 years, Notre Dame has not had a noon game. It was a 3:30 game. So, yeah. Might have seemed like noon just because you were feeling so bad about the fact that it was happening. But it was not a noon game. I am Tenzin. I'm the son of Ang in the YouTube chat says, did you hear the goofy question about joining a conference during Marcus Freeman's press conference today? Funny you should mention that. Freeman was asked about independence at the press conference. Was it in response to the Joey McGuire Texas Tech stuff? I don't know, because there was no context given in the question. Here's Freeman's answer, though.
I'm focused on Pitt. I know. I'm focused on Pitt, and that's where my focus is. I don't have anything else to say about that.
It's very random. He was just asked, how do you like being independent? What are your thoughts? I don't know. Salty said, I hope that I mention that he says, I hope Sean mentions the obtuse question from someone named Talia. I think she asked Mr. Freeman, this is what we're focusing on this week. He was bemused.
Yeah, he was pissed based on
questions.
What it sounded like to me. He doesn't need to take independence questions in the middle of the season. And number one, he doesn't have anything to do with whether Notre Dame is independent or not. And number two, it doesn't matter. Like right now, it doesn't matter. He's the head coach. He's a football coach. He's more worried about getting ready for the next game. That was the right answer. He's not going to get all political about independence and clickbaity stuff. That's not who Marcus Freeman is.
Right.
Unlike Mr. 15 Minutes of Fame down in Lubbock, Texas.
Or the guy out in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, exactly.
Well. Yeah. And I did, Narduzzi was saying some stuff today, and it happened right as I was getting ready to come into the building. So I haven't had a chance. We'll hear from Pat Narduzzi, Pittsburgh coach, and some of his comments when he was asked about, beating Notre Dame. We'll do that on tomorrow's show. So we've got that coming up. So it's just always interesting. You never know what's going to happen. at the press conferences. Vince.
Facts. You never know who's going to be allowed to ask a question.
All you got to do is put your hand up and do it in a prompt amount of time. And
no, that's a good point. No, that's a very, very good point. And you get them in the post game, you get them in the weekday press conferences. You get it all. And there are certain people that should not be allowed to ask questions.
Oh, Vince is drawing a line.
Just saying. You get so many opportunities, in my opinion. You get so many chances to ask relevant, good questions, and then
that's
after
true.
That,
think them out a little bit.
Yeah,
think about it a little bit, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe a timeout. Hey, a couple weeks off. Just a little timeout.
Have you seen that those commercials where they have backup quarterbacks and like the one where it's like, what's his name? The guy who was the Giants backup. I can't think of the Italian guy.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember his name either. But
there was it was a family taking photos, and it's like, all right, kid, you're out of here. We're bringing in the backup, and they've got like the other guy, where they're like going through the drive-through line, and he's like backup orderer and all that.
That's great. I think those are really funny commercials because these are all guys that are actual backup
quarterbacks.
And this is what they do now is they do commercials.
Call a timeout during the press conference, backup reporter.
I think it's great.
The second college football playoff rankings come out tomorrow night. Of course, Notre Dame was number 10 in the first rankings last week, which would mean a matchup with the number 7 seed and a potential second round game against the 2 seed, which as of right now is Indiana. So my question for you, Vince, we pretty much expect Notre Dame to go up in the rankings since BYU lost this week and Notre Dame won. Would you rather be the 10 seed, play on the road in the first round and play the 2 seed in the second round potentially, or possibly be the 8 seed, which means you get to host, but you also face the number 1 seed in the second round?
It's a really, really good question. It's all about the matchups for me. I would love to obviously have Notre Dame host, so maybe be the 8, but that still is the same game. It's still the 8-9 game, and you still have, the number 1 team just sitting there waiting for you, and right now that's Ohio State. And that's obviously been a bugaboo for Notre Dame. I would love for them to beat Ohio State. So in this particular, here's what I would say. If I don't know any of the teams involved, I would rather have a lower ranked team to play against. I think that goes without saying.
Yeah.
In this particular case, I would love to play Ohio State. I would, if I'm Notre Dame. Look, they're the team that we cannot beat Ohio State. Let's give it a shot. Let's get after it, man. That's the one team that if Notre Dame is going to win a national championship at some point, I would love for them to go through Ohio State at some point in the bracket. And if it has to be round 2, then it's round 2. So I would be okay with it.
I see it as the number 1 seed presently is none of the teams in the top 4. 3 of the 4 are unbeaten right now, but they don't feel unbeatable.
Agreed. They lost to Texas Tech Texas A&M by a point.
By 1 point.
Yeah, they can beat Texas A&M.
Exactly.
They've beaten IU. Yeah. I feel like they could beat IU again. I'm not saying it would be a blowout. I'm not saying that at all. But I feel like all 3 of those teams, to your point, I feel like they're all beatable teams. Yes.
Right. I don't like, just like the idea of having to go through the number 1 seed in the second round. But again, it's Ohio State is still really good, but they don't feel like invincible.
Yeah.
Defending national champion, unbeaten. Good. So I would still take my chances, get that home playoff game and have an opportunity. Now, all that said, I still like the path on that other side. 7 seed is still in play. The 6 seed is still in play. All those things are still in play. I still really like that path on that side of the bracket as the 6 or 7 seed. So Michael, apparently, it's all subjective in terms of what you think of whatever question. He apparently didn't like the fact that I asked questions about the Heisman Trophy today.
How's that not relevant?
We're heading into the home stretch of the season.
It's November.
Jeremiah Love is a Heisman Trophy candidate, and Marcus Freeman was asked after Saturday's game if he considers Jeremiah Love a Heisman Trophy candidate, and his answer to that was yes. And so that's why I asked 2 questions about the Heisman Trophy today. So if you don't think they're relevant, that's your prerogative. That's you're fully able to take that stance. I feel that they were relevant, and I was backed up by that by some feedback afterwards. So take it for what it's worth.
I don't know. I feel like Michael's just not in a very good mood right now, but we're not saying that Ohio State's not a good football team, by the way. He's saying that we're talking like Notre Dame or Ohio State's not a good football team. It's not what we're saying at all. I would say that Ohio State was better last year than they are this year. Does anybody disagree with that? I'm just asking. I think they're better last year than they are this year. It just so happens the way the schedule has played out, they are undefeated right now. I feel like Notre Dame has been close to beating Ohio State the last few times that they've played them. Let's give it another shot, and I think it would mean more if they were able to do it in the playoff. Like if they're lucky enough to win a national championship, it would mean more if you can go through Ohio State. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that they're a bad football team. They're number 1 in the country for a reason. But I think that they're beatable. That's all I'm saying, by certain teams.
Right.
They're not beatable by Penn State or, any team that doesn't have a winning record.
We're not guaranteeing a Notre Dame win over Ohio State. We're just saying it would be like, we feel confident that it would be a competitive game against Ohio State. And, to your point, you said that you would like Notre Dame to kind of get that monkey off their back against Ohio State. They've lost 3 straight years with them. So, yeah.
Simple.
I think Michael Cannon, I think we're kind of at a, agree to disagree, but I understand what you're saying. He said it's not a beef with me, but, just didn't like the questions. Okay. My point was, I do feel like Jeremiah Love should be considered, as I said in the show in the first hour, that Jeremiah Love should be considered among the top 3 or 4 players in the country, which I think he is, which would, as we're talking about Heisman trophies. And I was, essentially, asking Marcus Freeman, look, if a running back is going to win this award, considering the history, considering the fact that in this century, since the turn of the century to the year 2000, only 3 running backs have won the award. So if Jeremiah Love is going to win it, he's going to need people to vote for him for something other than just what shows up on a stat sheet, because while he's going to have good stats, he's not going to have gaudy stats, which tend to, put a running back into that conversation. And you also have to have some, kind of so-so quarterback play to go along with it. So my question, to Marcus Freeman again was, what does Jeremiah Love do that doesn't show up on a stat sheet, that
right.
would favor him in this kind of conversation? That was the context of it. So you don't like it. That's fine. Again, we get to see Jeremiah Love week in and week out. And if you look at the way opposing teams have chosen to defend Notre Dame like that, and it's like he has an impact on opposing teams' game plans just by being on the field. Like when you look at how they've chosen to cheat their safeties down rather than playing deep, and like they don't want Jeremiah Love to have the ball in his hands. They want to take that out. They would rather take their chances with a redshirt freshman quarterback than just let Jeremiah Love run the ball. They'd rather have a quarterback take shots at throwing on him.
And
that was
so far that has not worked out well.
Correct. World Series ended last weekend with the Dodgers beating the Blue Jays in 7 games. Joe Davis did the play-by-play for Fox. Davis is also the Dodgers TV announcer. I'm sorry. And he emceed the Dodgers celebration parade back in Los Angeles. So Chris Magdog Russo had something to say about that on his Sirius XM radio show.
National broadcaster, and you're the voice of the sport on the big stage when you did 1 million playoff games, and then they in one of the crippling losses that a franchise is going to have in the history of the sport. That's as bad a loss as you're ever going to have. And I got Joe, basically the body's not even cold yet, and I got Joe at Dodger Stadium doing the freaking Dodger parade. Oh my God. That's bad. I'm sorry. I don't care what you say. You can say I'm screaming and yelling about nothing. That would piss me off if I'm a Blue Jay fan. I got Joe Davis shaking everybody's hand. Give me a shaking freaking Ohtani's hand, and he's freaking wacky, getting rings. He's the announcer for the World Series. You think Kirk Gowdy was getting any of this nonsense? You think Garagiola was doing the parade in '82 with the Cardinals? Oh, my God. And he's got the trophy right there. God, if you're a Blue Jay fan, you're vomiting right now. That is bad. I don't care what you say.
All right. So Chris Russo obviously does not like the fact that Joe Davis emceed the World Series parade. What do you think, Vince? Okay. He's the national TV play-by-play announcer for Fox. He is also the Dodgers regular play-by-play announcer. So after calling the World Series on Fox, he goes home and he's emceeing the Dodgers World Series parade. You good or you in or out on him doing that?
Well, I'm out on listening to him scream at me. Holy cow.
Why do you say that? Why do you say that,
Gosh, I realize that's an acquired taste right there. I could not, whether he's making a good point or not, I could not listen to that. Okay. So I didn't watch a second of the World Series, so I don't know if his broadcast for the World Series was in any way homerish towards the Dodgers. I'm sure that he was professional about it, and it went both ways and all of those different things.
Yeah.
So let's assume that that's
I found it to be that way. I found it to be that way.
Okay.
What I saw. I didn't.
I appreciate
that.
Again,
like if you're a fan of one of the teams, you're automatically going to find.
Sure. I'm sure.
Especially if you're a fan of the Blue Jays, you're going to find
right
bias. You don't hear near that kind of talk about Joe Davis the way you heard with Joe Buck, though.
Right.
That way.
Okay. That's 100% fair.
Like he was like in the ninth inning before the Dodgers, there was like one out in the ninth. The Blue Jays are up by a run before the Dodgers got the home run in the ninth inning to tie it and send it into extra innings. I mean, he's starting to go, like wax his poetic about all these great things about the Blue Jays and the last time they won the title in '93 and all this. Like Joe Davis was going down that road.
I don't have a problem with him because if he's the national Fox guy, it just so happens the Dodgers made it to the World Series. Like, it's unfortunate because you don't want to have any, potential bias, from a call.
Any hint of it. Yeah.
Right. So having that kind of in your back pocket's not great, but he didn't make the Dodgers get to the World Series. That's just the way it went. And if Fox is going to have him be their national guy, then you have that possibility of that happening. Him doing the parade, I have zero problem with that. Who did the Cubs parade in 2016, Sean? A little pop quiz for you.
I don't know, actually.
Pat Hughes.
Pat Hughes is the Cubs radio guy, though.
But that's what I'm saying. This guy's the Dodgers radio guy. So what's the problem with him doing the parade? He's the Dodgers radio play-by-play guy.
He's employed by the Los Angeles Dodgers, and Fox knows that going in. Like, pretty much all of these guys who are doing TV nationally for whichever outlet are also the regular voice of whatever.
Somebody.
They're also doing a team. Yeah.
Right.
Like Boog Sciambi, the Cubs TV guy, is doing network radio, I believe, for ESPN during the World Series and that kind of thing. It's not a great look, the fact that you were just doing it. But I'm not nearly as put off by it, obviously, as Chris Russo is put off by it.
Again, it's unfortunate, I suppose, but I'm not getting all bent out of shape for it. And if he's a Dodgers guy pretty much throughout the whole season, then he's the guy that does the parade. That's how it works.
Right.
Like, that's what you do. Like I said, Pat Hughes did the Cubs.
Right. But the difference is Pat Hughes isn't doing national TV. So
Fair enough. But I bet you if the Cubs win the World Series, Boog Sciambi is going to have something to do with something at the end, you know what I mean? And he will probably have done, like you said, the radio for the World Series. So, like, it's just the way it is now. There's just a lot of sharing going on because there's not a lot of good play-by-play people out there, I guess. I don't know.
Michael chiming in the YouTube chat. I appreciate you saying what you said. We don't have to go into detail there, but like I said, kumbaya, we're all good. Could we consider it constructive criticism, I guess, and we'll
it's all good.
Just agree to disagree. So it's fine. Jimmy Costanzo with a super chat in YouTube for Vince, with Caleb Williams leading the Bears to some fourth quarter wins. Vince, are we able to forgive him just a little bit going to USC?
It's not just that he went to USC. It's the manner in which he carried himself when he was at USC. So no, I'm not there yet. I guess I'm inching closer, but I'm not there yet. He's won a few games. That's awesome. But no, I'm not there yet. I am the conductor of the petty train when it comes to Caleb Williams.
There you go. Brian, we were talking about the quarterback in the commercial. It was DeVito. Yeah. Hey, DeVito, get in here. My favorite one is the Teddy Bridgewater. Have you seen the Teddy Bridgewater where there are like two women like sitting in a little coffee shop and they're talking, and the one girl, gets subbed out, and Teddy Bridgewater comes in.
Oh, because she just wants somebody to listen to her.
Yeah, and she wants someone to listen, and she's got boyfriend problems or something, and he's like, "You're not a mechanic. You don't have to fix him." That's my favorite one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, good stuff.
That's a good one.
Speaking of DeVito, Brian Dable losing his job. Giants head coach today.
Really?
Losing to the Bears yesterday.
Yeah, see, that's what happens. You lose to Caleb Williams, you lose your job.
I know.
I mean, is it his fault that Jackson Dart went out and got a concussion? No, but don't run him so much. Like, this is the NFL, not college. He's going to start taking some shots.
Yeah.
And he did.
He keeps getting his bell rung, and Dable got fined for interfering in the injury tent a few games back and all that stuff. Christopher says the Cowboys have made him stop watching pro football. Ouch. Jesse and I were commenting how nice it was not, the Cowboys had their bye this week. Nice not to have to get into any of that. Like that was a very calm weekend.
Yeah,
so
I hear that. I can watch Monday Night Football, by the way.
Oh,
it's on ABC. Antenna, baby.
Excellent.
So fire it up.
Well, good luck. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. Lively chat, as always, tonight on the YouTube side. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat with IrishBreakdown.com.